Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. I'm
Yeah.
really excited about this one. We're going to be taking a look at Madeleine Thien's Certainty, a novel that, well, let's just say, even just glancing at the analysis we have here, has me completely hooked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like there's just so much going on beneath the surface. And I think by the end of this, you'll all have a much better idea of what Certainty is all about, what makes it tick, and, well, whether it's something you want to add to your to-read list.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, so one of the first things that really stood out to me in the analysis was the structure of this novel.
Yeah.
It's not your straightforward linear narrative, is it?
It really isn't. Certainty plays with time and perspective, shifting back and forth, sometimes even within a single chapter.
This is more like we're piecing together a puzzle rather than just reading a straightforward story.
Exactly. It's like Dean gives you all these seemingly separate threads, different characters, different time periods, but as you read, you start to see how they all connect.
Oh, I see. So like a tapestry, right? All those individual threads coming together to create this larger, more complex image.
Yes. That's a great analogy. It's that complexity that actually draws you in, I think. You're constantly trying to figure out how the pieces fit together, uncovering these hidden connections, and, well, it just keeps you on the edge of your seat wanting to know what's going to happen next.
Absolutely. And speaking of being on the edge of your seat, the characters in Certainty, they're not exactly simple folks either, are they? I mean,
Yeah.
the analysis talks about their struggles with identity, loss, and like the weight of history.
There are definitely complex characters dealing with some very heavy stuff, but it's the way Thien portrays them. With such sensitivity, you really feel for them, you understand their struggles, even if you haven't lived through the same experiences.
So even though their situations are unique, their emotions still resonate with us.
Exactly. And that's what makes them so compelling. Like, for example, there are characters in Certainty who are dealing with the trauma of displacement and the lingering effects of the Vietnam War and how it continues to shape their lives and relationships.
Right. And it sounds like the Vietnam War isn't just some background element here. It's really woven into the very fabric of the story and the characters' lives.
Oh, absolutely. Certainty offers this really insightful look into the Vietnam War and especially its impact on families, aspects that you might not typically read about in history books. Thien does a brilliant job of highlighting those lesser known consequences.
Yeah, and it sounds like she doesn't shy away from the difficult aspects of that history either.
No, not at all. But at the same time, she also shows the incredible resilience of the human spirit in the face of such adversity. And it really makes you think about those events in a new light.
It's fascinating how fiction can sometimes offer us a more, I don't know, a more personal understanding of history than traditional historical accounts, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in Certainty, that understanding is further enriched by Thien's writing style. The analysis even compared it to poetry, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely highlighted the lyrical and evocative quality of her prose.
Well, it's no surprise, really. Her writing is just stunning. She has this way of creating these vivid images and atmospheres with such few words. It's like each sentence is carefully crafted.
Oh, I can definitely see that. So it's like that precision of language, that careful choice of words that gives it that poetic quality.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes the emotional impact of the story even stronger, especially when it comes to those core themes of family and identity that run throughout Certainty.
Speaking of those themes, it seems like they're pretty universal.
Hmm.
I mean, who hasn't grappled with questions of identity or felt the complexities of family relationships?
That's true, and I think that's one of the reasons why Certainty resonates so deeply with readers. Because at its heart, it's really exploring these very human experiences, the longing for belonging, the challenges of forging your own path, especially when you're carrying the weight of your family's past and the search for who you are in a world that's constantly shifting.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like Certainty really encourages us to reflect on those things,
Yeah.
both in terms of the characters' journeys and maybe even our own lives.
Absolutely. But I have to say, Certainty isn't what you'd call a light read. The analysis did mention that,
Well,
right?
that it might not be for everyone because of the complex structure and maybe some ambiguous elements that could be challenging.
It's true that Certainty demands a certain level of engagement from the reader. You have to be willing to embrace the ambiguity, to sit with the questions that the novel raises.
Okay, so it's not a book you can just passively skim through.
Not really. It's more like a book that you want to savor, to really think about. And I think for Readers who enjoy literary fiction that challenges them, that makes them think and feel deeply well, for them, certainty is a treasure trove.
So it sounds like even though certainty presents some challenges, the rewards are definitely worth it.
Absolutely. Think of it like a challenge in hike, you know? It might be tough going at times, but the view from the top is breathtaking.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So to kind of bring things together, it seems like Certainty is a novel that's rich in so many ways. We've got these interconnected stories, these deeply compelling characters, these really thought-provoking themes about family, identity, history. And all of that is expressed through Thien's really beautiful, evocative prose.
You've summed it up perfectly. It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I keep coming back to something we touched on earlier. Can a fictional account of historical events like the Vietnam War, can it actually offer us a deeper understanding, more personal understanding than, say, reading a history textbook? It's something to really think about, isn't it?
That's such a great question. It really makes you think about the power of fiction to connect us to history on a deeper level.
Maybe we can even explore that question in a future deep dive. But for now, thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of certainty. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did, and who knows, maybe it's inspired you to pick up the book yourself. Until next time, happy reading, everyone.
Happy reading.